Welcome back. Now we'll go straight into the conversation. I've been joined by two guests in the house today. Mr. Nazir Sunusi is the International President, West African Law Students Association. And to my right, his Chief of Staff, Mr. Mohammed Musab Musa. Welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
All right, let's start with the basics. As students, what can you tell us about everything that's going on in terms of preparations to 2023 and the hardships that we seem to be experiencing in terms of the Naira swap and sometimes fuel scarcity? Is it in any way affecting students? Because people tend to feel as though the school system is shielded from the realities of the rest of the country.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Indeed, there is hardship, and as we all know that we, the youth, we constitute a larger number of population. So it affects us across all the campuses. Students find it difficult to get access to the new notes. Even if their parents send them money, 5,000 for you to withdraw it, POS, they will charge you 2,000 or 1,500. And some parents even find it difficult to send money to their children. So in view of that, I do honestly believe that we, the current crop of youths, we will do the needful come 2023. We will vote the right leader. And we as student leaders, we will do our utmost best to ensure that we elite our teeming youth to vote the right people, devoid of sentiment, ethnicity, or any tribal consideration. Let us choose the right leader regardless of where they come. Nigerians, we are suffering fuel scarcity, this unavailability of the new note. Now even the old note, people find it difficult to access it. And Nigeria has not come of age to embark on such cashless policies. I'm not discouraging or disagreeing with the policies, but by virtue of the Section 20, Sub 3 of the CBN Act, it was clear, it is categorical that a reasonable time should be given. The word reasonable time was not defined categorically, but 3 months is not reasonable. So in view of that, we are appealing to the Central Bank of Nigeria to reconsider their plan. People are suffering. Most people in rural areas find it difficult. They don't have bank account. Some people, or these old people, even the youth, somebody spent 15 or 20 years, is 20 or 60 above. He cannot even read the Pigo. Now you, without any sensitization or enlightenment or training, you ask him to give you his account number. He don't know. And these people constitute the larger number of our society. So there is hardship indeed.
All right, so that's fair enough. Perhaps you can come in here. Your own perspective, how has it been from your own sphere of influence? What's going on?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
It's a pleasure being here with you all. Well, what I can say is that it is very obvious that people are suffering in the country, but then from my own perspective, I think this is a good move for the country. Like, it's a good progress, but then, as I said, there is no reasonable time for people to retrieve the new notes. Like the new notes are not yet in circulation as they should be, and then now they cannot be accepted. So that is affecting the masses, basically the masses mostly, very well, because an elite, someone that's educated, don't normally even use the cash. You can use your ATM wherever you go, use an ATM, you make transfers. Just that after the problem of the new note, even the banks are not functioning well. Even the elites that can make transfer or use their POS, it's very difficult because of the traffic in the banks. It's making the networks slower and everything. So with that, people are finding it very difficult to make transactions these days and all of that, because if you are passing by any ATM that you see, people are just there like as if they're sharing free money or something like that. Like people are, from morning to evening, people will be there, just it's your own money, like it's not something free, but then for you to access it is a problem. And also the people that do the POS of a thing, now they don't have their like business, because that's their source of income, and then now it has been killed or ruined. They cannot have access to the money for them to give it to other people, because they don't even have the money for them to even put a higher rate for the POS charges, because for them to go to an ATM to get the money, it's very hectic these days. So with that, a student will definitely suffer. Even if you're not suffering directly, you know someone that must have been affected by this system.
All right, let's talk about the way Nigerians are reacting to this. Some persons, share your thoughts about how difficult it is, but others, even while the policies are affecting them, they believe in it. They believe in it. They say, you know what, I'm suffering now, but I know it's for the for the greater good and thereabouts. Are you of that school of thought, or do you believe that the government should just let it go and let it happen the natural way? Because we all know that there is a target, so to speak, whether spoken or unspoken, for February 25th. The goal is that before then there shouldn't be a collection of old notes anymore. Some say so that politicians who've hoarded money won't be able to use it, and so on and so forth. So the question now is, for these Nigerians that have suffered so much, at this point, if the government does shift that deadline past the election date, which a lot of people believe is what will benefit them, do you think it would be the wrong thing to do?
Well, personally, I think I'm of the opinion that this policy should stay in place as it is, because it is for our own good, like you said. Even though we are suffering now, but maybe later we will enjoy it, because with the insecurity of a thing, the money in circulation in Nigeria, it's too much. Like the liquidity ratio is not something that we're all happy about. So the money in circulation can be easily maintained with this policy. So for me personally, I think it is the best way to go about it. Even though we are suffering the insecurity of a thing, this kidnapping, they just know that they can get money anyhow. That's why they are doing it every day. But then if they start doing it, you don't even have money to give them, and obviously you cannot collect transfers. So I feel if they know they're not going to make out of it, they won't keep bothering themselves and be doing it.
Okay, that's fair enough. I don't know if you want to join in there.
Yes. Also, I'm of the belief that the federal government let the policies continue. We do believe that we will enjoying it, because we know that the central bank do the right thing. The only objection is that of reasonable time, but let us enjoy it in the next years to come. We do believe that we will appreciate the effort of the current CBN governor. So I know that like P.L.O. Lumumba once said that one of the most dangerous things to do in Africa is to declare that you are going to fight corruption, because corruption is a big industry that accommodates a lot of people. So people, those elements, they will gather to fight you. That is why you see some governors file a suit against the CBN, against even the federal government. 3 governors. But we students, we remain in home as to strike for 9 months. None of those governors come out and even say something about the strike. You know, there must be something. It affected them. Yes, we do agree that it affected us and people are suffering, but it must have positive impact. It must have positive impact. So let it continue. I do believe it is not going to stay permanently, and we commend the effort of CBN. Our appeal, let the new note be in circulation. The new note should be in circulation, so that it will ease the hardship. And also after that, the CBN should come out with a program to create awareness, especially in rural areas. Those people who do not have bank accounts, let them open it. Let them undergo a training to understand the people, to understand how to detect a fake alert. This is the problem. Some people who come and, especially those people in the rural area, they will just say they don't know the exact people. They don't know how to understand this is a real alert or fake alert. So this is the issue. Without doing this, I think the policies will not be in the best interest of all of us. Yes, that is my perspective, or that is my view.
I know you are student lawyers, so to speak, but let's talk a little bit about the legal aspect of this. When that Supreme Court's ruling came about, or pronouncement or thereabouts, I think everyone sort of calmed down. They said, you know, the Supreme Court has said they should stop, so we're good. And but the CBN seems to have clarified sometime today that the new Naira notes stopped, the old Naira notes stopped being legal tender on February 10. Basically saying that if you still have it, you know, you're on your own. We even know there are reports now that banks don't even accept the old Naira notes anymore because they see it as not legal tender. Apparently, the only way you can return your old Naira note now is by some sort of is directly to the CBN. I think you have to write a letter or thereabouts, but there's a process, and to get your old notes back into your accounts or to get new notes now, you have to, you know, go to the CBN. That being said, what about that judgment? I don't know if you can enlighten us a bit. Some persons are saying that the Supreme Court has no jurisdiction over the CBN. You know, what can you tell us about that?
Yes, the Supreme Court lack original jurisdiction to hear that matter filed by the 3 governors. The right court to determine is Federal High Court, because there is the only instance where a Supreme Court has a original jurisdiction if there is a case between federation and states, or between states. Federation is different in a legal perspective. Federation is different from federal government. Any agents that is under the government of the federation is a federal government. For instance, CBN is a federal government, but CBN is different from federation. So those governors supposed to file the suit against the CBN before Federal High Court. Section 232 of the Constitution is clear about the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. But it is the last court of the land. That expertise application or its pronouncement must be respected, and that status quo must be maintained. So, but this, according to our understanding, and we listen to various submissions made by our learned seals, that in this case the Supreme Court lacked the original jurisdiction to hear that suit. The only suit the Supreme Court can assume when it comes to issue of this original jurisdiction is that the case between the federation and state, or between two states. That is the only instance. Those governors supposed to file their suit before a federal high court.
That's fair enough. Do you have any other aspects of
No, I
this?
think you
Yes,
have
cover.
said it.
All right, now
it is the fact.
All right, so let's talk about, some of the things this was meant to battle. There are a host of things to talk about, but we're talking about this because it's one of the most pressing issues to Nigerians right now. Now, one of the things it's supposed to target is vote buying, wherein the alleged amounts that have been stashed by some politicians will not be able to be used, because once the money is no longer legal tender, when you go out to, it's pretty clear. So the question now is, taking it from the part of students now, we are aware that students or young persons generally are often used for electoral violence, to perpetrate some of these acts and so on. And I think one of the key issues there is the economic viability or economic power of students. As an event the other day, a patron was advising young ones, and he said that one of the things that gets you a say is economic stability. So if you are in a place where someone feels they cannot buy you, they're more likely to listen to you.
Yes.
That being said, what is the welfare of students like? Are they at a point now where they can see money and say, you know what, I don't need it? Or what really needs to be done so that students can get to that level where, they are tempted but they are not moved by some of these?
So let me use this opportunity to appeal to my teaming youth and fellow students. Let us reason properly. Let us wear our thinking caps. Let us wear our thinking caps. We shouldn't allow politicians to use us as talks to destabilize the election or to cause mayhem in our fatherland. Or they will give us 1,000 or 500 some cases, or 2,000 to bind our conscience. Especially our students, the essence of education is to make you to reason properly, to think differently, to be creative. If we elect the wrong leader, we will be the one to suffer in the next 4 years or 8 years. And we have seen ASU strike, massive kidnapping, massive kidnapping and other related issue. And according to the National the National Bureau of Statistics, it's revealed recently that not fewer than 133 millions of Nigerians are living in multidimensional poverty. We need to elect the leader who have the passion, who do not bind our conscience, so that they will have that kind of empathy, so that when they assume the power, they will do the right thing. So I appeal to my team in youth, let us not allow this politician to bind our conscience. Let us reason properly. Let us wear our thinking caps, elect the right leader, regardless of where they come, regardless of their tribe. It is Julius Nyerere of Tanzania once said that the tragedy of our continent is not the songs that is being sings, but who is the singer. What he means, you may have an agenda that is good for your country, but if you do not come from a particular ethnic group or particular region, those who will be following you will only come from your ethnic group. Let us vote the right leader. Everybody know the right. Let us vote the right leader come 2020. Remaining few days, so I do believe our fellow youth will do the right thing. If we do the right thing, you will see the proper outcome of this 2023 election.
All right, so Mr. Mohammed, I don't know if you want to chip in something there.
Yeah, well, I believe as an educated person, as you said, you should be a reasonable man to know the, capacitated person, someone that has the capacity to do the right thing. Any person, any candidate, even though if you feel he's the right one, but then any candidate that offers any amount of money for you to vote him, I think that's desperation. And then anything that has desperation will definitely not end well. If you are desperate about anything, whatever it is, even as a student, if you want to pass exams, if you are desperate about it, you will end up cheating or something of that such, and then the ending won't be good. So any person that's offering you money, I think you should think about it, and your conscience should be something that you should maintain. So the students, I believe, will make a very good choice this time around, as we have been seeing how the democratic government has been since the 90s. So I think this is the right time, as this generation, I believe, we are enlightened, and then we are coming up with a new idea, not the way things have been. So I feel
it seems as though you have faith in this new generation.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
But the question is, the other day I had the NANS president on the program, and he was next to another guest, and the other guest pretty much put it to him that students are calmer these days. They're not as they don't agitate as much. That in the past, if something happens, yes. So the question now is, what is going on? Take for instance, there was an issue with a student who wrote some things or tweeted some things about the first lady, and he got arrested and all that. And so people are saying that in the past, no one would dare touch his students because they know what will happen. We take it back all the way to the eras of the military, where students were at the forefront of fighting and all of that. So the issue now is people feel that students are so relaxed and calm and easily bought. Is that true? If it is, what is really going on?
Well, from my own perspective, I wouldn't say that exactly. Although most of them have the apathy, but then as we are the majority, and when it comes to the voting, like as in the youths are the majority, so I believe if they do the right thing, we will have the right outcome. Although, as I said, they have the apathy in them, but then there are still, like, I have a lot of my colleagues that we have movements about these elections. Everyone has his voters card and everything, and they are ready to do the right thing. So just the thing is that conscience should be there, and then that issue of money, and then this policy, I think it has an impact in this case, because there is not even enough money to buy the voters and all of that. So I think with this policy, and then with the way things are going, maybe we will have a different outcome this time around.
Right, Mr. President, I'd like to put that question back to you. Do you believe the students are any less agitative than they were? Should that be something that we bring back, or is it are we in an era where there's other methods that are being used? In the past, when something happens, you see aluta, the students are marching into the streets, whether it's fear, whether it's whatever it is, as long as it's affecting students, they are going to be out there, and you're going to feel their displeasure. Are there new ways now, or do we need to go back to those old days?
Yes, I do honestly believe that even during military era, there are some comrades and youth leader and student leaders that agitates against the government of the day, and some of them they were detained, some of them even they were killed, some of them they were expelled from schools. But the current reality is that some of our student leaders now are there. We are just there to cash out. We are not there for the overall interest of the student. This was caused this as a result that before you emerge for a particular position as in our level, you bribe people, you spend money. So when you assume leadership, your focus is how to refund, how to get that money that you spend. It's not about how to make an impact or how to deliver. So this is also what is happening in our real policies. This is what some of us are copying. We are copying from the elite. We are copying from the leaders. So that is why we are less agitation. Our focus, our main focus, some of us, is how to cash out, how to get money. It's not about how to make an impact, how to make how to leave an unprecedented legacy. These are the reasons. But I do believe that despite this obstacle, there are some student leaders still they agitate. I know that Sunday, Sefon, former NANS president, even the current president, Comrade Usman Barambu, they are trying their best. So let us have faith they will do the right thing. And sometimes when you are trying to embark on massive action, maybe DSS will call you, or somebody will call your friend. So for that reason, if your friend asks you to stop, you have no other option than to come. So these are the factors.
All right. Seems there's a lot of pressure there from different quarters. But now I'd like to get your thoughts, your opinions on the closure of varsities, the closure of schools. I mean, I think just yesterday the announcement has also come for polytechnics. Earlier we got for universities. Mm-hmm. What effect do you think this will have? Is it a welcome development, or is it something that is, the other side?
It is a welcome development in the sense that it will enable the youth to travel back to their various places and exercise their franchise.
But what about, I'm aware that there are also polling units around the schools. So when the schools are closed down, are they still functioning? How does that really work?
Okay, the polling unit within
campuses.
Yes, I'm not. Yes, it maybe it will work.
Okay.
I don't know, but since the closure is not total, you cannot shut down the university totally, because there must be staff. There must be some staff. There must be exemption. So maybe on that particular day, election will take place. People will go there in that particular polling unit to cast their vote, and also it will enable some students this period to engage in other extracurricular activities. For instance, in our association, we run various programs, internship, webinar, meeting that will enable you also. We have to combine both the extracurricular activities. And also I'm using this media also to call on my youth, my team youth. Let us also engage in meaningful things, engage in these various computer training. Let us get skills, because we are in 21st century. You must have the requisite ability for you to get a job at private sector or government sectors. You must be employable. So let us use this period to engage in productive things, and let us also do the right thing and board the right leader.
Right, that's interesting. I want to go into the matter of, over the course of this program, you've mentioned voting the right person and so on. So I'd like to talk about participation of students and youths in politics. But before that, I want to address something you just mentioned about, developing yourself. I was speaking with a student who is a master's student abroad, one of the Nigerians who has, as they say, jackpot, gone. So he was, describing his curriculum or what they do over there, and he described some sort of what I call it assignment that they do, where you are given an assignment to find issues with a website or with a company's issue and so on and so forth. But then what made it special was he said that they are told to go out and find actual businesses and to offer to do those things. So basically you walk around, you can come into the station here and say, I'm a student from this school, I want to look at your website and I want to profile solutions and I want to actually do it. And the idea behind this is that even while you're in school, you're solving problems in the real world. It's not theoretical.
Yes.
You're not just so. That being said, with the way the things are here, you mentioned some sort of programs and thereabout.
Yes.
I'd like to know, as one of the student leaders, are you seeing any sort of collaboration or relationship between academia and practice? You know, for instance, you are lawyers now.
Yes.
Do you guys have any sort of contact or link to the outside already, where you're already perhaps having an inkling of what is there? You know, because some people say, for science students anyway, that, you know, they graduate and they never get to use the almighty formula to solve anything.
Yes.
So that being said, do you have that sort of connection at the moment, or is this something that needs to be worked on?
Yes, I think most of us, particularly law students, 300 level law student or 400 level, must engage in internship with 201 chambers. You must have connection, you must have mentors, those that will guide you, that will put you in the right perspective. You must have network also. We have various association. For instance, we have West African Law Student Association, WALSA. It is the unifying body of law students across sub-Saharan Africa. Its desire is to contribute as students to the actualization of the ECOWAS vision and mission by advocating for unity, good governance, democracy, respect for human rights, and the advancement of West African legal system. We also have LAWSAN, that is National Association of Law Students, Nigerian student. We also have FALAS, Federation of African Law Students. So this association enable us to come together to interact with our foreigners. For instance, I'm the pioneer president of West African Law Student Association. With the help of Almighty God, now as I speak with you, I unify 7 countries. Just a few weeks ago, last week, we had a meeting with one Senegalese. He told us that he will be able to write in an English, but he can't speak. This is how the way we conducted the meeting. So this enables us to interact with different students, share educative and informative ideas. And I do believe there is also different training. I used to see a lot of flyers, a lot of webinar, each and every blessed day is going on. So, and I do believe most of our students, I don't know other students, they engage in this internship, be it physical internship or virtual internship. Most of them are productive. Yes.
All right. So, you're seeing enough interest then?
Yeah, because when it comes to the legal profession, everything about it, I feel it's practical. Because as you say, from 200 level, basically what you do is the practical work, you know, not just the written aspect. Because even at the COVID era, my school run online classes and online exams, but that doesn't happen for the law student, because there are mooting activities, you know, moot court activities. You go through trial into school. We had a week's Olympics event. There were different bazaar round, you know, competitions, the moot competition and debate. So everything about the legal profession is basically practical. And then most of the legal law faculties have a law clinic which goes to, you know, trials with the students. They will go to prisons and all of that. So as I'm saying it, it's basically the practical form.
Right, that's fair enough. Now let's talk about participation. What is it like for students to be involved in politics? I say this because people have different views about how young persons can participate. Some young persons believe that they do not have to be attached to any party, and they simply have to pick the best and vote, and that's all. And others say that for youths or young persons to get to the level where they are also leaders, they need to be they have to have skin in the game. They have to be fully involved in politics and so on and so forth. So I'd like to know what's your thoughts on it. I mean, the fact that you keep mentioning vote the right person, I almost feel like you have a candidate in mind, but that's up to you if you want to share. But that being said, how do you view participation in politics as a student?
Politics count. Like during our last conference here in Nigeria, our keynote speaker, the former governor of Bauchi State, he said it is time for the youth in Nigeria to come and take over governance. Actually, we have done it severally, but we have not succeeded in taking Nigeria to the next level. You say maybe it is time for us to recline and allow the youth to come and take over and take Nigeria out of the doldrums. So politics count, and we must as a matter of fact participate actively, especially we students. Let us participate actively. Let us vote out all cargos. We have the energy, the time, the ability, and we have we are in line with 21st century. We know how to operate systems. It's not paper. You submit paper, read and sign, go. So we are the one connected economy. We need a connected economy, not industrial revolution, industrial economy. We need a connected economy. As this Minister of Communication and Digital Economy is doing the best. So we need a people like him who are smart to come up with different ideas that will change the narratives. There are a lot of opportunity going on in this global, in this village, because the world is village now. A lot of opportunity. So I encourage my fellow students, let us participate actively. Let us participate at student levels. In student union, the way government operate, we operate like that. We have judiciary, we have legislative, we have executive, we have department, various departments. So if you are able to understand those clearly, you will be able to coordinate the other one. You will be able to succeed in when it comes to the societal policies. You will be able to succeed.
All right, now speaking, he's already spoken about participation. The question now is, how do youths come together and vote as a bloc, if that is possible? And in relation to that, does your candidate have to be, if you choose one, does your candidate have to be a young person for him to perhaps represent the youths, or what are the criteria that youth should look out for, so that there's some level of unity, so that number, you mentioned that youths are some of the highest in terms of the demography. In fact, they are the highest. They have the highest numbers in terms of voters registered. So that being said, what should youths look out for, so that they end up voting as one rather than pockets here and there?
Well, we know the manifestos are just there. It's not like when they come to power, they work with it all the time. So that's like something difficult, for you to understand. You don't know the future, so for you to understand the right person, what I think is that from the way a person talks, you will understand what his intentions are. Some people will just look desperate, like they will contest, and it's not like they even want to make an impact. They just want to get to power. What they are agitated for is just the power, not thinking of what will happen after they get there. So if someone maybe that has been in a ministry, and then how he conducted it, how he led his people, or like a governor of a state or something like that, the way he worked for his people, the way he has been throughout his political journey, I think that is something that will enable you. And then you need someone that, when he's talking, he knows about the welfare of the people. It's not just about him. but he also has the people in mind.
All right. I almost want to put you on the spot and ask if you have any candidates in mind, but feel free to share if you do. But that being said, there are still things happening now that I'd just like to get your thoughts on, and maybe your comments to those involved. With this Naira notes and false scarcity and other issues, we've been seeing different reactions. Some young persons are setting up roadblocks, rioting. We've seen some persons break into banks, destroy banks, and so on and so forth. How do we begin to get these, or let me put it this way, what language do you think they will understand? As a young person yourself, I think a lot of old people are becoming a bit confused. They don't know how to react, because we see it a lot of the times when an old person is, perhaps quiet and calm because they don't feel any urgency or thereabouts, and they see a young person agitating, screaming, shouting, and they're like, listen to me, and the message doesn't pass across. There's that gap. So how do you think these persons need to be spoken to? What language or message would they hear that would calm them down and give things a chance?
To give them message of hope, and also to do the right thing. Some youths, they will not understand any language except to see action, the results. You cannot, because most of us believe that just this politician have nothing to offer. So whatsoever policies they introduce, some youth will not agree with it, so they will oppose it because they say they have been lying, this and that. So even though that is not the right thing to do, let us, we the youth, we must always do the right thing. We shouldn't destroy or beat someone or cause mayhem. Let us be obedient. Let us be law-abiding citizens. Let us obey any rules and regulation, so that and let us also, if we want to change the status quo, or we are not happy with the status quo, let us marry our books. Let us read properly. Let us engage in productive things, so that we will be able to change that thing that you are not happy with it. This is the only way, because if you are not happy with things, the only way is to challenge it, so that you can change the status quo. Yes.
All right. I just want to bring up something that happened that other student bodies have reacted to. We have NAMS, we have NOWS, the student wing of CNG, the Coalition of Northern Groups. They've all reacted. So I'd like to get your thoughts. Apparently, there is a steady and quiet increase in the tuition of schools across Nigeria, and some students are reacting that if it continues, there might be an incidence of dropouts because the prices are getting too much. I'd like to get your thoughts on that and what's happening in that regard.
Yes, the truth of the matter, as I earlier said, the National Bureau of Statistics recently revealed that not fewer than 133 millions of Nigeria are living in multidimensional poverty, particularly in the northern region. There are a lot of people, even that 30,000 or 15 naira, they will not be able to pay. Some people, they will be in spend more than 2 or 1 month in the school. They have not done their registration, and they are struggling with what they will eat. And now the school fees, you increase the tuition to 115,000 or 116,000. How do you expect them to pay? Some students, they are the one who struggling to pay their school fees, because maybe they don't have parents, maybe their parents are poor, or maybe their parents, they don't know the value of the education. So let them review that policies for the benefit, for the overall interest of the public. When the time comes, they can increase it. But for now, the condition and the situation is not favorable. I do believe, and I know, I'm sure there are a lot of students that cannot pay even 25,000 to go to even colleges. They are there, and if they continue with that policies, a lot of people will be drawn out of school, and they will not engage in doing something else. They will join gang, and crimes will become the order of the day. We will not sleep. Within your community there is gang, thieves. They will break your house, steal your phone, whatsoever they, just to survive. If the economy is favorable, people can struggle. I know there are some students who are hardworking, they can struggle to pay their school fees. So let them review that policies for the overall. When the time comes, they can increase it.
All right, but what do you think students can do about this in the meantime?
Well, the country is not getting any easier, and then the prices of stuffs are just getting higher. So I feel students don't really have that much power to do much in this, because the only thing we can do is, talk, enlighten people and try and get them educated. But then I think education is the bottom line, because in developed countries people do protest, but in a very reasonable manner. People just carry their boards and be talking. But in Nigeria, because of lack of education awareness, people just go around destructing stuff, just vandalizing any government property. They feel it belongs to them. But then if the government is making education harder, I don't think stuff will get easier, because education is the bottom line. If you are educated, an educated person will not go around the streets hitting people, burning cars. It is because of illiteracy and greed. If you're an illiterate person, you know your rights and your duties. So as a good citizen, you will not go burning government properties, hitting people and all of that, saying that the government didn't serve you well. You have like a public duty. It is a public contract. You as a citizen, the government will provide you safety and all of that, even though the safety is not in the 100% or as we wish it to be. But then the government will provide you the necessities, and then you also provide the government with order. That's like a public contract. So if you don't have the proper education, you won't know about all of that, and you think going around vandalizing stuff is the right thing to do, and that's how to get your right.
Yeah, indeed. You made a statement there, which I think is very fair. Making education harder, more difficult is definitely not going to yield to results. Rather, the opposite will happen. So that being said, I'd just like to get some comments from you as the people involved, as students yourselves. There might be things that have gone under the radar that people don't know about or people don't speak about. I'd just like to get to know, what are your agitations? What are the things that you want different from how the education system is from a student perspective? What are those things that could be better? Take, for instance, the ASU strike that happened. Are you okay with that resolution or whatever came out of it? Is there a way you feel it could have gone? Basically, I just want to hear your side of the story and what you really want now from the government and all parties involved.
Okay. The academic staff union of universities had 16 different strikes since Nigeria returned to democracy in 1999, and I think up to now we do not have permanent solution. And shooting academic activities for more than 4 years, within that 23 years. That 4 years is a whole, it will enable students to get a degree. So in view of that, I do believe that government alone will not fund education properly. In other developed countries, there is what they call endowment fund. Nigerian government can set endowment fund. We have prominent people, the business, like Khalifa, Dangote, all these prominent people. What is your percentage for education? They will contribute. The politician, the elite will contribute annually with that money, that endowment fund. I do honestly believe we have patriotic Nigeria here in Nigeria and abroad that will contribute greatly with that endowment. With that and the contribution of the government, I do honestly believe we will be able to fund our education properly, to have the necessary infrastructure in place, and to pay these lecturers their entitlement. That endowment fund is necessary. I use this medium to call on government to set up endowment fund. Let us look at the spirited individual, the businessmen, the private sectors. Let them contribute. Maybe with that endowment fund, you may hear that within a year, government generated more than 1 trillion. So with that, we will be able to and that the endowment committee can be for a former president who have respect before the people. Let them chair the committee. Education count. Education should be given a special priority, because without education, we will not have the development. We will not have the desired society. We will not have the desired country. But with it, I do honestly believe if we have the right education, and it should go in line with the 21st century education. Let us digitalize our education. Let us be creative. People should use this internet to benefit from it. So I'm advocating that endowment fund should be set up to so that it will enable the federal government, the state government. Even the state government can set it on. Also, at the state level, there are some people, spirited individuals, also they will contribute. And with that, the government will be able to fund. If you go to some universities, you will not be able to find a rot. You will not be able to find the necessary equipment. Students, they will just go and pass the exam. When after graduation, they are not employable. Nobody will employ them. And this 21st century is a competitive world. What will you offer? If you have nothing to offer, nobody will employ you. And the government, the white collar job is not available. You must engage in private sector or private practice or business or something else. And you must be productive. You must be employable. So let that idea, I use this medium to call on the state government and the federal government to set up that endowment fund. Let us contribute to education. Some even other people will say, even me, I will contribute with my little earning, so that we will be able to fund the education. I don't know, maybe the elite, they don't want the children of the poor to go to school, but if we want peace and stability in this country, the children of the elite and the children of the poor must be educated, and must, so that we will use we will use our we will be creative. We will be creative and productive. That is my view.
That's fair enough. Are there more agitations that you might want to bring
Well,
up?
let me add to what he said, or emphasize rather. Paying the lecturers is one of the most important things, because if you are in a workplace and then you are not happy, you will definitely not deliver. You know, these people are frustrated. A lecturer will mark a script of over 500 students, 1,000 students, you know. So, and then at the end of the day, he won't get the right thing to even refresh himself, his brain, after doing all that work. So the lecturers need to be paid the very right amount they deserve. Their allowances should be secured. Their, you know, pensions and everything should be secured. So because if they don't have that, they won't treat the students well. You know, they won't have the agitation to do their job well, and that's what brings about these strikes. And then from the part of the students, you know, you being in school, maybe you started with a friend that is in a private university or in a public university. He graduated 2 years earlier before you, and then you are still in university just because there are strikes in the university. So that's not your fault, and that will definitely, you know, make you angry, and you will think of doing unnecessary stuffs. Yeah,
that's fair enough. All right, we seem to run out of time now, so I'll just like final statements from you both. Basically, what you want to say to your colleagues out there as regards everything happening in every form, and also about 11 days to the election. So what was your general advice, your take, your predictions, what you want them to really focus on this period, this last lap of the election cycle?
As I said earlier, let us wear our thinking caps. Let us reason properly. Let us vote the right candidate. When I say the right candidate, the one that you as my learned brother said, the one that you observe his thoughts, his ideas, his manifesto, even though he may not work with it, but observe him, his track records. If you believe that he has what it takes, you can vote him. But the bottom line is, you are not voting him basically because he come from your particular zone, or he come from particular this. He is our son. Normally in Africa we say he is our son, and you voted him. So let us vote him. Yes, if you believe yes he has what it takes, you can vote him regardless of where he come from. That is our appeal, but not based on he come from this zone, or he come from my tribe, or he is this and this and that. It's based on ability, based on capacity to deliver. You know, we have endemic poverty, pervasive illiteracy, insecurity. If this take example Zampara, Katsina, this we have gold and diamond there. These bandits, most of them, they used to come out to say that it's the reason why they give them gun to go and destroy their villages, because they are illiterate. And I do honestly believe that an educated person, even if he will scam you through an electronic means. He will not take a gun to go and kill his brothers and sisters in the villages, so that the outsider will come and do their illegal mining. This is what is happening in Zamfara. This is the reality. They will come and do the illegal mining. They arm them. They arm the young people, give them gun. They come and destroy the villages. They come and do their illegal mining. Nigeria, we have the necessary mineral resources, natural resources that will enable us to lead the rest of the world. But look at where we find ourselves, lack of leadership. And we need an energetic leader, a leader who will not be controlled by cabals, a leader who can move to the battlefield, a leader who can work as a watch for the 24 hours. Let Yusuf Metama once say Nigeria is a typical country to rule. It is like a silk gown. You fall one sleep, the other one fall himself. So it is a difficult country to rule. If you are not ready, if you are just there just to get the power, you won't succeed. You must have passion. You must have, even though I know there are a lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges in and out, but if you have that, you will be able to deliver. So let us reason properly and let us put the right leader. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Your final words, please.
My advice to voters generally is that, first of all, we shouldn't vote with sentiment. It's not about what you will get personally, but the good for the country as a whole. So, as you said, it's not about someone that's from your tribe. We should move tribalism, religious sentiments, and any other relationship. So it's all about the person that you think will serve the country right. And then when you are thinking, you shouldn't think with sentiment.
Yes.
Your conscience should be there, and you should think with your full capacity of you know, the knowledge that you have to decide who you think will be best for all of us.
All right, thank you.
Thank
you so much, President and his Chief of Staff, for coming today. It's good to hear from the students, and a very key demographic in what Nigerians hope to achieve, and your voices need to be heard. I do hope that whenever you have issues, you always find your way. There's always listening ears here for you. Thanks very much for coming. Thanks for coming. All right, that's all we'll take. We've been speaking with the president, the international president, West African Law Students Association, Mr. Nazer Sunusi, and his chief of staff, Mohammed Musa. And we've been speaking about the state of the nation in terms of how students will have an impact in the forthcoming elections, and also amidst the economic downturn. That's all we'll take today on the program. Do join us on the weekdays, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Daily on the weekdays. For now, I'll leave you with some news updates. See you tomorrow. Bye for now. I am Amadou Nobari.